Tom, nice to, I suppose, bit of hit run mission, go over there, get 4 points and get out of there with no trouble and just start looking to build some momentum again. Is that sort of, just use that as a foundation now for the last month of the season?
Yeah, we weren't obviously pleased with our performance against the Bulldogs, but we went down there with a real, obviously, mission to get the job done. I think from sort of round 12 or round 11, they'd been top 5 in some pretty important KPIs, contested possession, pressure and the like. So we knew that it wasn't going to be easy, and we're proud of the way that we got the job done because they threw a lot of different things at us and played some really good footy.
A lot of plaudits thrown your way for your performance, but knowing you'd like to deflect your performance, and you had some teammates who were very, very good on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. Ollie Dempsey obviously played a really good game. I thought Jack Henry's efforts behind the ball was super. Some of his contests, particularly early when they sort of had a bit of a run on, I thought he was really important. Jed Bews' second half on Davies Uniacke was something that we really valued as well. So it's good to get an even contribution, and it's something that we need to continue to work on going forward and have everyone sort of playing their role for the team.
That's my follow-up. That even contribution is just going to be so crucial for the next month and then whatever happens in September.
Yeah, it is. We don't have to look too far back to understand what it takes to win it. So we're going to rely on probably a few blokes coming in and out of the team, and we're going to find the right mix, and we're excited to see where we can get to.
Bewsy didn't skip a beat either, nearly 12 months without an AFL game, but he just seemed to pick up the tempo pretty quickly.
Yeah, he did. I was really proud of Jed. I've known him since I was sort of 14, 15 years old, playing through the Falcons and that together. So there's a bit of emotion with that one. He's been somebody who has been a staple of our team for the better part of a decade. So for him to go back and ply his wares in the VFL and never complain, never drop his head, be a real leader for those young boys down there was something that, as a teammate, I was really, really proud of. And then, as you said, he came back and just looked right at home. His competitiveness and his balance that he gives us and flexibility behind the ball is something that we really value, and it's something that, moving forward to know that we have him there is gives us a lot of confidence.
We're speaking about the younger guys, and we see, Ollie and Tyson had great games again, and we talk so much about like what they do on the football field, but has there been anything, I guess, behind the scenes, anything that you just see from them personally that kind of stands out, that how they tick, on the training field or just about the guys as well?
I just think their attitudes. I can sort of speak, candidly about, blokes I've worked with, Max Holmes and Sam de Koning, Ollie Dempsey, like getting exposure to those sort of different blokes in the midfield, but they're just great blokes. Like, they're great kids. I call them kids because I'm very old, but they're just fantastic to work with. They come in with a real buzz and an energy that's infectious, and I think we're starting to see that on the ground as well. Max has had a fantastic year. Ollie's doing what he's doing around the ground, on the wing going forward. But even Ollie Henry, I thought he came back with a real spark and gave us some fantastic contests ahead, which on game day, that's what everyone gets to see. But what we get to see behind closed doors is just how hard they're willing to work. Ollie Henry grabbed me in November last year. We do one-on-ones, most sessions, post sessions, and he wants to learn his craft. He wants to get better. Same as Ollie Dempsey. He's probably one of the last ones to leave the track, and I think they just really enjoy being at our club and being able to play footy, which is an amazing job, and they understand that.
You signed a new contract last year. These guys are starting to take over this year and kind of commit going forward. Is that exciting for you? That these younger guys are going on, and then also, I guess, the older guys, do you see guys like Hawkins and Duncan going on as well?
I can't speak for Hawk and Mitch and those guys. They've had amazing careers, and it's sort of up to them in the club to work through that. But for myself, I'm 31 now, and to see Max sign a long contract and then Tyson as well, like, that gives me such pleasure in knowing that we're doing something right. To keep some really, really high end talent at our club for long periods is something that we're really proud of, and it sort of speaks to what we're trying to build down here. Once we sort of get blokes in the door, we like to think that we can keep them here, and that's been set up for as long as I've been here and prior to myself. So we pride on the country club and the family club that we try and aspire to be, and to see some, as I said, some really high end young talent signed for long periods is really, really good.
You've played most of your career behind the footy with some time up in the midfield. Has that had to change how you approach? You're obviously naturally fit, but how you, I suppose, prepare yourself for games in terms of spending more time around the footy?
I wouldn't say it's changed my preparation too much. It's probably just the coaches and the players that I work with day to day. You know, I've played a lot of footy behind the ball, not only at AFL level, but, you know, VFL and local level. So just to, you know, get exposure to, you know, working with Stephen King and, you know, working with Pat on a day-to-day basis, Tom Atkins, Jed Bews, it's just been sort of learning the dialogue and the things that we're going to go after around the ball. It's something that's given me a real pep in my step, because it's not something I anticipated doing this sort of to this capacity. Obviously, you know, I'd had exposure to it, albeit in a small sort of chunk last year. It's been really, really fun. It's something that, you know, it's going to take time, and, you know, there's going to be different moments where I get pulled back behind the ball like I did on the weekend. But if I can sort of go up there and have an impact and you know, take the pressure off some of those other boys in there, then it's something I'm really willing to do.
Have you had an opponent turn and look and go, what the hell are you doing in here?
Yeah, a couple of times. I think the Essendon game was the first one. I think I walked past, you know, Sam Durham, who's a northeast boy. He's from Seymour, and he's just like, hang on a second. Like, I think he just sort of double took that I was actually standing in the middle at the first CB. But yeah, it's, as I said, it's not something that I was, you know, earmarking to do as much as I have. But, you know, it gives me a great flexibility in my game, and it allows me to have confidence that I can go have an impact sort of in multiple positions.
Doing more Ks in games where you spend time up around the footy?
I'm getting to the bench more. Yeah, I've learnt that midfielders get a lot more rotations than defenders, which is nice. So you get to sort of come off twice a quarter, which is, it's an absolute blessing. I'm pulling up really well after games, and yeah, obviously, you know, the contested crash and bash stuff it takes its toll a little bit. It's something that it's not quite like standing under a high ball. You sort of, you know, contest and then move to the next one and contest again. So it's just continual sort of ground level contests and smacking into bodies. But yeah, the extra break's been nice.
Just looking ahead to Adelaide, just have to ask, you know, not your job, but in terms of the ground, are you confident that what I guess the Trust have been doing, you know, the last week and heading into this week as well, that they can get the ground into a good spot for, you know, a home game? And then adding on to that, I obviously saw some guys going across over to St Mary's as well, training there, obviously having to move that last week as well. Has that been disrupted at all, or have you guys adapted pretty well just to having to...
Yeah, no, not disrupted. Yeah, we're to be frank, we're so blessed to be able to train where we play our home games. Like, we train here 2 or 3 times a week, and the Trust and the ground staff do such an amazing job to have, you know, at times 3 programs with our AFLW in their pre-season and our VFL men's, you know, training on there as well. They do an amazing job to keep the ground in such great condition. I think, you know, the Western Bulldogs game, there was a lot of talk around it, but it was a bit of an anomaly. Like, it was a fairly brutal day, and having a curtain raiser happen prior wasn't ideal, but, you know, you can't really control the weather. So in that respect, you know, we've just got to take it in our stride. As I said, the ground staff and the Trust do such an amazing job here to allow us to train here more often than not. You know, if we could go run out in St Mary's, all being, you know, a local ground, it's 20 metres across a road. It's not that big of a deal for us.
Big night Saturday night. I think it's member. Thank you, round only 2 more home games to go. The crowd's been fantastic here for the most part through the year. How much have you enjoyed the now Coliseum-like atmosphere of the ground as opposed to the previous iterations of it?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Pat just told me before, I think we're, you know, broken another membership record, and we're aiming to get to 90,000 members, which it's remarkable, to be honest with you. Obviously, coming through COVID and the world that we all had to live in and endure, our members have stuck through with us, and every member in the competition have been so fantastic with their outpouring of support to every club in the competition. So, you know, we have to say a great deal of thanks to them for sticking by us when, you know, there's been some pretty dire times. But there's nothing more thrilling than running out here and, you know, looking to your left and seeing a full Joel Selwood stand. And, you know, not too long ago they were building this Brownlow stand when I first came here. So the revolution that has happened here, and, you know, the gratefulness that I have to be able to play at such a fantastic venue, you know, 7, 8, 9 times a year, it's really special. There's moments where, you know, we get to take our kids on the ground and they come down to the room, so they're the memories that, you know, I'm going to cherish forever. But our members are fantastic. You know, you look back against the Bulldogs, or we didn't play very well. It was like 3 degrees and absolutely pouring rain, and they still turned out in their thousands. So we're so grateful for them, and hopefully they can come down and support us for the last 2 games down here.
You never forget your community roots, obviously through South Barland to to get to where you've got to, but you've been giving back in another way locally, running water for a local club.
Yeah, it was a promise I made to a close friend of mine. He coaches out at Anarchy, and we've got a pretty sort of tight group of mates. There's about 10 of us that are super tight, and I think there was one night in the summer I might have had a few frothies, and I said, if you can get all the boys to sign out there, I'll run water for a day. So they all ended up signing, which I couldn't believe it. And a couple of weeks ago I ended up running water out in Anarchy, and it was about 3 degrees, and it was a good laugh.
What were you like as a water boy?
No, shocking. It was after we played Collingwood on the Friday night, and I woke up and I'd had about 2 hours sleep, and I was like, this is going to be rough, but it was really enjoyable, to see some blokes who were in my bridal party, and my groomsmen and my best man playing footy together. It takes me back, and while I'm super honoured to be playing AFL footy, I'd love to just play footy with my mates one more time. So to be out there, wearing a white t-shirt, carrying water bottles, is as close as I'm going to get for a little while. So it was really enjoyable.
Just one more, I guess, on the weekend and going forward, and 1 to 9, I think 3 games separate every team, and it's so tight to kind of whether you guys can get into that top 4, whether it's the top 8, but how confident do you guys feel in terms of obviously some ups and downs this year in terms of results, but where you guys are at now to lock up a finals, and when you do get to finals, what are you expecting when it's just such an uneven competition?
Yeah, I think it's just that we understand that from the bottom up, on any day teams can beat anybody. To be honest with you, this is as even as I've ever seen it across the board, which is, I think it's a good thing because your destiny is in your own hands. We understand now that our preparation is key coming into this last month of the year. We've had some performances that we're not proud of, but I think we've played 21 games now. I think we've been in all but 3 of them. So I'm really pleased about that from being a leader of the club, that the fact that we give ourselves opportunities to win games. Obviously we'd like to win every single game and play great footy every week, but it's just not sustainable. The competition's super difficult, it's super tight, and we understand that our preparation now is what's going to take control of what we can do. So we've got to come in here every day with a real thirst to learn and to get better, because that's all we can really do. We can't control what the competition does or what the other results are, but we can control how we prepare and how we approach every single game.
As a statesman of the competition now, Tom, only a handful of players have ever played 400 games. No doubt you'd be very impressed with what Scott Pendlebury's been able to achieve, even though he's been at another club.
Oh yeah, it's an extraordinary feat. I remember growing up watching Pendles, and having played against him and met him a few times. He's the ultimate professional. He's the ultimate gentleman too. A fantastic person who his impact on our game will be remembered for an extremely long time. Not only from a Collingwood standpoint, but just his consistency and his level of performance over what's almost sort of getting towards 20 years has been nothing short of remarkable. I suppose myself, I get to relate it back to I get to play with Joel Selwood and Patrick Dangerfield and Tom Hawkins, and Pendles is right up with those blokes. His impact on game day was as consistent as you'll ever see. I think he's never really finished outside of their top 5 when he's had a full season in their BNF, and he always seems like he has so much time, and he moves with such grace, and he always puts himself in the right spots, and he's a fantastic competitor and somebody I really admire with his longevity and his consistency over his performance of a long period of time.